Hello, welcome back to Life Enrichment with Hank Ballinger. Today we want to talk about what you talk about. You can tell a lot about somebody by what they talk about. A lot of times we talk about a lot of the same stuff, but that's okay. That generally explains a little bit about who we are, the importance of what we put importance into. So what we talk about a lot of times tells a little bit about our character. So nothing wrong with that, but if we're trying to build wealth or if we're trying to set goals, a lot of times we may want to focus in on that a little bit or a lot more than what we may be doing. But before we get into that, again, I would like to say thank you for all those who watch the channel, especially those who watch it all the way to the end. We really appreciate that. If you can, hit the like button, subscribe, tell others, share it on Facebook, really get the word out. Again, our goal is to help other people get out of the rat race, and I think you'll see that in today's video. That is the goal. We want to help the average person get out of the rat race to where they're just not struggling every week, week after week, month after month, year after year, just to try and stay ahead. So that's our goal, and if you could help us, we would really appreciate that. Thank you. People talk about the weather. People talk about sports. You know, it's just general pleasantries. Again, nothing wrong with that. We see somebody, the first thing you're not going to do is just run up to them and say, hey, well, what do you think about this stock? Or, what do you think about how to invest in this or that? That's generally not what we do and not really what I'm talking about. General pleasantries are fine, okay? How you all doing, how you feel, stuff like that. But what I'm saying is, that can't be the entirety of all that we talk about. Just general pleasantries, just stuff that's really not going to matter. It's not going to help anybody else, really not going to help us, not really going to make a difference in most people's lives. So what we want to look at is, what about the heart of a conversation? Now, generally, like I say, when you meet somebody, you exchange general pleasantries. Nothing wrong with that. But what about the heart of the conversation? After we've been there a few minutes and we want to get into something that's got a little bit of meat on the bones. So we want to get into something that means something that will help them, something that will help us. So as you study and as you build knowledge about wealth or about setting goals and accomplishing those goals, then you need to share that and you need to try and get good at how to introduce that into the conversation and try to talk to people about them setting goals, them building wealth, as well as yourself. We're going to talk about that a little bit more later. So the heart of the conversation, we really need to explain and try to pull people in to where everybody is being the person they want to be, not just somebody that society wants them to be, not just somebody that their employer or somebody that their family would like them to be. It needs to be who they want to be. And that, again, is one of the goals of this channel. Now, one of the ways you can do that is spend time reading. Now, really immerse yourself in a lot of reading. Now, I know a lot of people today don't like to read. That's not a very common thing. Now, years ago, I used to read all the time, spent a lot of time, and most of it was on Bible study, Bible topics. Then I started getting into how to build wealth, and once I got into building wealth, I've spent a lot of time in diving deep into how to build wealth, but also how to teach others. And I have taught many others how to build wealth. So if that's something you would love to do, there are just thousands of podcast videos you can get on and watch, and people really want to help you get out of the rat race. But you can do this. You can do it. So immerse yourself in reading a lot of good articles. Find authors that you really like and people that are steering you in the direction that you want to go. Read what they have, and if they're there, Now, let me give you one thing that you really need to watch out for. There are a ton of people out in the world, they write how-to books, and some of these people write how-to books on how to build wealth. And they themselves have never built any wealth other than the books they're writing about how to build wealth. Now, can you build wealth on how-to books on how to build wealth? Yes, it's possible. Some have done that. But if I were you, I would kind of look in the background of this person that you're studying. Make sure that they have something more than just a how-to book on how to build wealth. They need to be somebody who is an entrepreneur. If that's what you're wanting to do, you're wanting to learn from somebody who really has firsthand knowledge and who has been out there. They've been in the trenches. They know. They've worked the long hours. They've gone through the tough parts, and they know. That's the people you want to learn from. So be willing to talk to others. You know, there's a ton of people out there, people you know, people I will never have the opportunity to meet, but you will. So you can meet these people and you can talk to them and encourage them. Listen, they need to read too. Just try to bring it up in conversation and encourage them to build wealth also, or set goals and accomplish those goals, whatever they may be. Immerse yourself in your goals. Now, this seems like an odd thing, that if you're trying to build wealth or if you're trying to set goals and accomplish those goals, it seems like it would be odd that somebody would have to tell you or me or anybody that's trying to set goals and accomplish goals or build wealth. It seems like it would be an odd thing that somebody would have to tell you or me, hey, you need to spend time on you. But many times we do. We spend so much time with our family, doing things for our family. If we have kids, we spend so much time with them. Our family members, we spend time going to their houses, our jobs. Let me ask you this. Now, I ask this question all the time. I'll ask people, how many hours do you work a week? And a lot of them, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Those are standard answers. And that's fine. But then when I ask them the next question, sometimes I get the deer in the headlight or the 1,000-yard stare. They're just kind of looking like, not really sure I understand the question. The next question I ask them is this: how much time do you spend building wealth for yourself or setting goals for you and trying to achieve those goals? And many times that answer is 0, mass majority of the time. Now, if you spend 40, 50, 60 hours a week building wealth for someone else, why would you spend 0 building wealth for yourself? See, you have got to put yourself first sometimes. Sometimes. So you're going to have to immerse yourself, read a lot of books, watch videos. Now, here's one that back in the day, back before cell phones were really that popular, in 2003, I really started studying on how to build wealth. Started reading Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I think Kiyosaki's got about 20-something books. I think I've read all of them, except maybe the latest one. I've got it on my desk, but I immersed myself in these books. So I went to seminars. Back then, there were seminars, you could find them all the time, and I went to hundreds of those rascals, and they're fun. If in a geeky kind of way, if you really like that, they're a lot of fun. So go to them. A lot of times you'll hear them on the radio. Maybe you're listening to the radio, and they'll say, so-and-so is going to be coming telling you about how to fix and flip houses, and they're going to be at some hotel in a conference room, and it's going to be 2 hours one night. Hey, it's going to cost you 2 hours. Generally, those first seminars are free. Not going to cost you anything. Go to those, and then you can sit there for 2 hours. So you will have 2 hours involved, plus your trip there and back. So maybe 3-4 hours, but you're going to learn a lot. And then you're also going to be around people who are telling you things to do to enrich your life. So here's what you need to do. You need to surround yourself with people who are of that mindset. If you're going to build wealth, you're going to have to surround yourself with people who know how to build wealth. Now, the next video I do is going to be on that very topic. So if you're watching this one, you like this video, be sure and watch the next one. The next one is specifically on that topic, how to surround yourself with people who are of the same mindset. So you need to go to seminars if they still do those. I really don't listen to a lot of radio. I listen to a lot of videos on YouTube, listen to a lot of those podcasts. So I really immerse myself in those for several hours every day, generally on macroeconomics and geopolitics. But those are fun topics that I geek out on. So find a personal mentor. Now, someone who is already wealthy. Now, I generally refer back to wealth because that's what I generally think the average person and the people that I generally see, that's what they want to do. When I ask them, what are your goals? What would you like to do? They'd say, well, I'd like to have, money and do the things I want to do. So that hits most people. So if you want to build wealth, one really good way is to find a mentor who is there. They've built wealth. Again, they've been through those trenches. They know because they know firsthand. They've had to do all the long hours. And generally, when these people are first starting, 50, 60 hours, they're going to laugh at. When you're starting, when I first started, I worked at Sherwin-Williams, and I worked in the apartments every night, every weekend, holidays, anniversaries. We worked all the time. It was constant. And a 50, 60-hour week, I would really laugh at, because about 80 or to 100 was most weeks by the time I worked my job and at the apartments. 80 to 100, not a problem. So don't tell me really that a 40 or 50-hour week is all you can do. It's not. You can do more. But listen, if you spend that 40 or 50 working for somebody else, spend time on yourself with your goals. Very important, very important. Now, when you get this mentor, a mentor is someone who, don't get that person to be your buddy, your BFF. Don't look at it that way. You want this person that when you do something stupid, and you will, they're going to tell you, why'd you do that? That's stupid. Don't do that. You don't want a friend. That's not a mentor. Somebody tell you, hey, that's great. Don't even worry about that. You made a stupid mistake, and they're going to tell you that's okay. No, that's not a mentor. A mentor is somebody that's going to look at you and say, listen, that was stupid. Don't do that. You don't want to do that. Remember where you were. You don't want to be back there. You keep making that mistake again, you'll be back there. Don't do that. You've got to push yourself. That's what a mentor does. Don't get someone that's going to be buddy. Get someone that's going to push you to be where you want to be, not where you've always been. Okay? Someone that's going to push you, someone that's going to expect more out of you, maybe than you will expect of yourself. Someone who has succeeded in your very goals. Maybe you want to build wealth, so find someone who has built wealth. Now, maybe you want to build wealth in franchise restaurants. It's not something I'm real familiar with. But if you want to build wealth in franchise restaurants, you probably don't want to talk to me in depth. You may want to talk to me some about building wealth, and we can get together and talk about some. But you need to talk to someone who has built wealth in franchise restaurants or maybe franchise hotels. And that's fine. Whatever your goals are, that's the person. Maybe you want to write a book. You need to talk to someone who has written a book. We're going to talk about that more here in just a minute. Does anyone know a fella by the name of Theodore Seuss Geisel? That's an odd name, isn't it? You'd think if you had heard that name, you would remember that name. That guy is none other than Dr. Seuss. Now, why I love the story of Dr. Seuss, more than just loving his books. I grew up on reading his books. They're awesome, Loved his books. A lot of fun. But do you realize Dr. Seuss himself was turned down 27 times before he got someone who would publish his books? I'll bet those 27 people really felt foolish after those books started rolling out. Don't you think? Now, think about this. Here is a guy who had enough faith in himself that he said 27 people who are in the industry don't know me well enough and don't know how much resolve I have that they will look at my work and say, no, that ain't going to work. People won't buy that, won't go. People will not read that. But he had the fortitude and the resolve to say, no, I'm going to keep on. I will do this. And he proved them wrong in a big, big, monumental way. He did not quit. If you want to achieve your goals, whatever they may be, that is the resolve that you will need. Absolutely. And when you get that mentor and he starts kind of pushing you really hard, that's exactly what you need. You cannot become complacent. He wasn't complacent and he did very well. I want to tell you about another guy. Really like the story of this guy, Steve Harvey. You know this guy. He's the big guy on Family Feud. Big guy. Boy, you would think, well, big guy, he's got to be tough. He is tough. Let me tell you how tough this guy is. He slept in his car. When he first started out, he slept in his car because he couldn't afford anything else. Look it up. Do the fact check. That's awesome. A guy with enough resolve that everybody else says, no, we're not hiring you. No, we're not hiring you. No, we're not scheduling you to come and speak at our place. And no, we don't need you. Now I bet those places would look back and said, man, we should have got him. We should have got him. He is awesome. He does great. Everybody loves him. Back then, he slept in his car. He said, I will make this work no matter what. That's the resolve you have got to have, and you can do this. Now, one last point. How many times, specifically talking to those who maybe cut out coupons, okay, maybe you like to cut out coupons and maybe you spend several hours a week or maybe several hours a month just cutting out coupons so when you go to the store, you can spend those coupons and you can save a lot of money. Nothing wrong with that, okay? Just let me preface this by saying nothing wrong with that. But could there be a better way? Let's say that you spend about, let's say 5 hours a month cutting out coupons. You're looking through magazines, you're going through this and that, you're looking on your phone because nowadays they're digital coupons. So you got coupons in a little folder that you take to the store and you got them on your phone and you spend hours finding those rascals. Then you go to the store and you're walking through the store and you're spending time and you're going through there and just getting the stuff that's on sale. And when it comes down to it, maybe you save $30, $40, $50 on that one visit. That's well worth it. Again, I'm not saying don't do that. But what I am saying is in that same 5 hours spent cutting out coupons and trying to save money, you could have spent that 5 hours in trying to expand your living. Now remember, to become redneck rich, your expenses are down here and your income is up here. Always. Always. There is no exception to that rule. Income up here, expenses down here. Now, as you expand this, you can start raising your standard of living, but you make sure your income always goes up a lot faster than your standard of living. Become redneck rich. So these people that cut out coupons, nothing wrong with that. But if you spent the same amount of time, and let's say you decided to do this. Maybe you're a big coupon cutter. Maybe you like to cut those things out, take them to the store and save a lot. Let's say you spend 5 hours a month. Whatever time you spend cutting out coupons, say, I'm going to spend the same amount of time on setting my goals and accomplishing my goals. If I spend 5 hours, I'm spending that amount of time setting goals or reading books to set goals and accomplish those goals. Or I'm spending 5 hours on building wealth. See, in that same amount of time, one way you're contracting your way of life, you're trying to live smaller, and another way is you're trying to expand your life. You're trying to say, hey, I'm going to make more money. Now, if in time you spend enough time learning to build wealth, in the future you will go to the store with no coupons. You will go through there, get your groceries, go out to the car, and somebody may ask you, hey, by the way, how much did you spend on those groceries? And you'll say, I don't know. Because it won't matter. You will get the things in there that you want, but because you have expanded your life, you will be able to get the things you want. Now, you won't go crazy because you will understand the value of $1. But you will also realize it doesn't matter because my income is way up here and my expenses are here. You don't cut down, you expand your life, your living. You can become redneck rich. Anybody can do it. You have to set goals, what you talk about, make it part of your everyday conversation, how you're building wealth. Become very into yourself and what your goals are, and you can become redneck rich. See you on the next video.